How are you doing? All right, all right. I know this is kind of the wrap up where everyone's like, oh, I'm tired, I want to go home. Forget it. Stay. Hopefully you'll like my message. First off, thank you again for hanging out. Thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. Second thing I need to say is my apologies, because number one, the title of my speech is not correct. Number two, the description is not correct. So hopefully you'll still enjoy it. It's more along the lines of how the heck did I get here? Not how the heck did I get on the stage, but how the heck does someone like me get to the UK, and how did I get to Tech Nation, and what does it actually look like? So this is probably the least tech talk, maybe, that you've heard all day, but I hope you enjoy it. So, again, my name is Patton. I'm the Entrepreneurial Engagement Manager, that's a mouthful, for Tech Nation for all of the Northeast and Yorkshire, Humber. Please don't be offended, but I do make the joke of I'm now the Queen of the North because it's a huge swath of land. FYI, I found out it's the size of Lebanon and Rhode Island put together. Weird little fact for the day. Right, so how the heck did I get here? I get this question all the time. And I think, like most people's story, it's really hard to distill it down into 15 minutes. I'll try my best. But my story, like your story, doesn't actually begin with me. It begins with our parents. And in my case, my mother. So there she is, all pretty, 1960s debutante, born in Houston, Texas, well, Chicago, but Houston was where she grew up. Southern Methodist, very much Christian, very strict family. You did everything right. You never got out of line. You looked pretty, you were quiet, and you just got on with the right things to do, right? That's how she was taught. However, she always had a deep desire for her creative side. She was very good at art from an early age. She had horses, so she would always draw her horses. She also loved to sing. She used to love to dance. But my grandmother, being the matriarch, was like, nope, you're gonna go off and you're gonna have a society wedding. You're gonna be that good girl, all right? So she did. She went off in her early 20s. She married one of the wealthiest men in all of San Antonio. They owned basically half the city. She had a lovely car, she had a lovely house. Everything was the way it's supposed to be. But my mom wasn't happy. She felt like her soul wasn't really being, I don't know, quenched, I guess maybe would be the word. So she actually left that marriage and took off traveling to Alaska, of all places, and then down into Kauai, and Oahu, and Hawaii, where she learned how to surf, and she hung out with her dog, and hung out with lots of bohemian people. Fast forward that, and she ended up in the wilds of the high Rocky Mountain Plains, which is here on the left and here on the right. Single, alone, and pregnant with me. So there we are, together, in the Rocky Mountains, and I was an only child, so my only companions were a goat named Wildfire and a cat named Kiki. Those were actually the people that, not people, animals that looked after me. And I had my little horses and my donkey, and it was a very remote area of the world. So to say that I had an unconventional childhood is putting it mildly. No electricity, no running water, no indoor plumbing, no traditional schooling. Closest town was 40 miles round trip. So basically, I was left to my own devices. But my mom, and her creative kind of insight, felt like I needed to be free to paint, be free to draw, do all the things she was never able to do, but also she taught me how to read. So by the time I was 2 years old, I started to read. And reading was my outlet into the world. It was my kind of insight to what else was out there. And I learned about everything. I was voracious. I wanted to learn and read and digest, and I was hungry, is probably the word for it. And soon, I discovered that that hunger would translate into more creative activities. I started writing books, well, not little books, little stories. Started acting out things. My mom always encouraged it. She never said no. She always said, do well, do well. But we were really poor. And when I say really poor, I mean, we call them food stamps. So basically they're free stamps for food. They could go into like the local grocery store and they would stamp it. But for us to get to the grocery store was really hard. So my mom had to grow our own food. There was a free store in the town that was 40 miles away or so, and I had to hunt for clothes in a stinky pile of clothes to be able to dress myself. So it taught me really early that you never know where you're going to end up. My mom coming from where she had come from to where we were. And it also taught me that knowledge is instrumental into changing who you are, who you want to be, okay? So I'm going to fast forward. We're going to go through all the whole yada, yada, yada bit. But here I am, finally moved back to Texas. My grandmother forgave my mom, back into the bosom of the family. And it's Waco, Texas. And yes, it is that Waco, Texas you've probably heard about. We ain't coming out, right? That one. And that's where I went to I went to elementary school, first time I was ever in traditional school. And it was I was so excited. Oh, there's people around me, there's kids. It was amazing. It was so fun. But I soon learned that they didn't like the way that I would speak. They didn't like the way that I would ask questions all the time. I would question everything. Why is this the way it is? And I did really well in math. I did really well in science, amazing in geography. I wanted to be an actual percussion drummer, but I was told girls don't do drums. Nah, you need to do something what a girl would do, like a clarinet or a flute, which I thought was really boring. Like, who wants to do that? And then I wanted to do what we call shop, which is learning about car mechanics. Girls don't do cars. A guy can do cars for you, was what I was told. Now, this is in the 80s, fair enough, but I got really upset by that. Why do I have to be told that? Why can't I do what I want to do? I'm just as good, aren't I? I'm making the grades better than the boys. Why am I constantly being told that my creative mind, my intellect, my hunger to learn is a bad thing, right? So, my mom being my mom, never said no to me. She kept saying, you do what you want. And so I won a scholarship to prestigious, let me say that, prestigious school called St. Edward's University, which is in the sister school of Notre Dame. So here we are in Austin, Texas, and there I fell in love with photography. And that to me was the perfect marriage. That's art and science married together. The two things that fed me. I wanted to learn about the intricacies of things and like the chemistry and the composites and the why, but then the beauty of capturing the aesthetic. Brilliant, right? So I fell in love, and that love took me to get awards, took me to New York City for an incredible internship. It took me around the world, and I got very lucky in that respect. I got to follow my passion. But life is life, and shit happens, and it did. And there was things where I lost my way, my career went down the toilet, married a guy that wasn't the greatest guy, marriage failed, life became quite painful at times. And I questioned my choices. I questioned, what was I doing? I thought you follow your passion, everything kind of translates into forever being good. Wasn't the case. So eventually I ended up landing in Edinburgh, Scotland, trying to figure out this life, trying to figure out what I was going to do halfway through it. And everyone telling me, it's too late, Kate. You had your chance. You failed. No one gives a crap about you anymore, right? So, me being me, I chose one of the hardest disciplines you can do, which is language acquisition and curriculum design for second English learners. So people would come over here that didn't know English as their first language. How are you going to teach them how to learn? So then I wrote a dissertation, and here's a mouthful for you. How hip-hop music can teach second language acquisition through mnemonic devices. Just rolls off the tongue, right? Just no. But I did well. I thought, okay, I've done it. I've done another one. I can get back out in the world. Everything will be great. No, not the case. Met another guy. Had another failed marriage. Things were like rotten again. And here I was in Scotland. They didn't give a care about my degree. They didn't care about what I'd done in my past. I'm married. I'm struggling. Working in pubs. Figuring, God, I've done it again. I've done that thing where I thought I had it right, and I'm down the wrong hole. What do I do now? Now, if anyone knows anything about technology here in the UK, Scotland, about 10 years ago, was becoming an emerging place for startups, a place called Codebase. And I was like, Start talking to founders and entrepreneurs, and something about them struck a chord in me. It struck a chord back into that girl I used to be, where creativity and bravery and like not giving up about it and setting yourself out there to be challenged, to be scared, to let fear own you but not rule you. I loved that. I loved that about them. And I said, I want to work for you. Who are you? How can I do it? What do I do now? So I started applying for business development, sales, customer service, bottom floor, whatever I could take to learn. So fast forward some more. And that's where I am now. I decided for myself that this was an industry that, despite what everyone tells you, yes, I've been the only girl in the room, yes, it's mostly white male, yes, I've been told I'm stupid, yes, I've been passed up for promotions, yada, 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 all the stuff we've heard. But I probably going to say something very controversial here. I have found that this industry is actually more, we use this word a lot, inclusive than ever. And this is a message for everyone. Every one of you, I bet, in this room has come here from a different perspective, from a different background, and you are okay, you're accepted. People listen to you. Male, female, black, white, Asian, minority. This is the most flexible, amoebic, moldable industry that I have ever worked in. And only the sky is my limit, right? I'm finally found my niche. And all I want to say is I want to encourage people to give tech a chance. We are not an all-boys society. We are not exclusive. We are more inclusive than we ever have been, and we are powerful. It's a good thing, right? So here's how I'm going to prove it with my stats. So this is from the Tech Nation Jobs and Skills 2021, okay? 36% of jobs in digital tech are in exactly what I was talking about, in the non-digital tech roles. Here's a secret, I can't even put a spreadsheet together. Me and Excel, we're not friends. Like I can't even do it, right? But here I am, standing in front of you guys, talking about that there are opportunities. And the greatest thing about all of this, it's not a lonely process. There are so many different organizations, both government-led and privately led, that are here to help you realize whatever it may be. And if it's not you, it's probably someone you know, okay? So here's my thing, pass the message on. Here's the local people, right? Wild, up here, run out of leads, is all about two of the best women I've met in a long time. They are doing this for all people that are minority, gay, lesbian, black, white, they don't really care. As long as you have a goal and a dream, they want to help you realize it, okay? The Coders Guild, this is an amazing one as well. Crispin, who founded it, would go out into London and get kids off the street, literally, pull them into classrooms and teach them how to code. I want the practicals as well. If you want to do the actual tech side, you need to know it. You need to know it. Not just a little bit. You need to know all of Python, Ruby, be agile. You need to know what those terminologies even mean. The last one I have to plug is us, Tech Nation. Tech Nation is a national network and organization that's here to support, encourage, and signpost founders and entrepreneurs. But we set up something called the Digital Business Academy, which is all free, 90 courses online for young learners or anyone that wants to do it in your own time through all these different kind of like modules. And you pass checkpoints, but it's learning about coding, it's learning about the best hires. How do you do sales? How do you do marketing? How do you find your board? Right? We're not just talking about it, we're wanting to put a framework together. So I'll end on the last bit, which, sorry, I love my quotes. So I'll let you read the top one because I can't see it in the slide, and I didn't memorize it. But this is from Web Summit, from the co-founder of Black Lives Matters, okay? And the second one is from Steve Jobs, who's also stay hungry, stay foolish, which is one of my favorite tags. It's not faith in technology, it's the faith in people. And I still have faith in people. I still have faith in myself. I still have faith in the community. I still have faith in the future. Thank you, guys.